All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's lair. I'm your host, Larry, and today we're checking out the newly released Adventures of Elena Temple. It's a nostalgic / retro platformer made by Grim Talon. It's about $4 to $6 on Steam, and this is a game that could be best described as a concentrated dose of retro gaming nostalgia and a little bit of parodied history. So what this is we'll just start by reading off the history down here, is The Adventures of Elena Temple was first released in 1982 on the Commodore 4. With its outlined art style and catchy music and difficult gameplay, the platformer became a hit on early game consoles. Unfortunately, the console itself performed terribly on the market, with the vast majority of gamers preferring to buy the Commodore 64. As such, Elena Temple remained an unsung hero of her generation, and the developer had to move back to his parents' garage, which, according to his mom, is where he belonged anyway. So essentially, this is going through the trials and tribulations of the creator of this game, along with allowing you to play the game, as he tried to go through and port and design this game on multiple retro game consoles. Or at least sort of like the corny parody rip-off versions of things like the Commodore, the Apple computer, the Game Boy, and of course modern-day Dell computers with Bell over there. So we're going to jump in here and check out some of the Commodore 64 version, played on a really old Sony TV. I might have to... Okay, so it's going to start from the beginning. So basically, Elena Temple is an Indiana Jones-style hero. She goes in and explores old temples and old ruins, but instead of a bullwhip, she's going to use a pistol so that she can do things like break old pots and find treasure, kill scorpions that might want to nibble her ankles, and of course, solve puzzles by breaking down walls. Essentially, she came in here looking for cool lost artifacts and found out that the entrance is not also the exit. And it's full of all those classic difficult retro platforming elements that you would expect. There's very non-lenient hitboxes where you end up smashing into spikes a lot and dying and having to restart on one side of the room or the other, and some very unforgiving platforming mechanics as well. So if you're looking for, something that's a little bit old school and has that definite retro feel of difficulty because of the technical limitations, both of the game and of game design at the time, this game has got you covered. So we're really just going to be wandering through here, looking for spare bullets, solving puzzles, breaking pots, and trying not to get bashed in the head by all of these spikes. Now, the thing that I think is actually kind of cute about this game is that as you go through here and as you go from one game system to the next, not only do the graphics start to improve for your character and for everything that's going on around you, but the difficulty of the game also improves as you get a finer-tuned level of control, because it's again trying to mimic all of these old retro consoles. And as we exit the game, it'll keep our progress on the level, and then we can start to get ported to other game consoles and see what that was like. So the next console is... The developer switched from the console to a personal computer, and that seemed like the logical next step for Elena Temple. Unfortunately, the game was ported from an obsolete machine with no support for new and powerful MS-DOS. With no access to the internet back then, the developer just went along with what the local computer salesman told him was all the latest rage. In fact, he was making the game for the computers the salesman and two of his friends were trying to sell with their new startup company. The game sold 3 units. So now we're going to be playing on the Todd 300 old console computer, or DOS computer, and the speed is a little bit better for all of the graphical elements. We can kind of move a little bit faster and respond a little bit faster than we did before. But the graphics are still on the more basic 8-bit side, and they're only green and black, and there's not a lot of contrast besides just that. Maybe not contrast, that is extreme contrast, but there's not a whole heck of a lot of detail beyond those elements. And I thought this was a really kind of cool way to explore those concepts as you explore an old temple. And there's something kind of funny about a guy who's just trying his hardest to make a popular video game on whatever platform he can, while also not really having the best of luck doing it. It also reminds me of a fair number of computer history documentaries that I've watched over the years, where the person that was really in charge of knowing everything about the system, giving people technical information, and helping them design and program stuff, a lot of times was the person that you bought it to. So released in 1985, the Maple computer featured a 240 by 160 black and white display, which was impressive. In some remote parts of Canada, Apple had released the Macintosh a year before with much better hardware and a groundbreaking humongo screen of 512 by 342. Guess nobody told the Canadians at Maple about it, or the developer of the Adventures of Elena Temple, who saw the new platform as a major opportunity. Since it had no games available on it at launch, I wonder why. The title became the platform's bestseller with a whopping 31 units sold. So this is where you really start to see controls and the graphics start to improve. We start sort of edging into more 16-bit stuff. And things become a whole heck of a lot snappier along with that added detail. So I'm going to go ahead and hop onto this puppy right here. Go up and get this coin. And really, I don't necessarily know that you need the coins in this game. There's not really a scoreboard like a lot of old arcadey retro games might have. But what it does have is a fair number of puzzly rooms that you have to fight your way through in order to escape the temple. Now, where did I come into this room? Was it over in here? It was over in here. Let's see if we can't get up to the upper parts of the temple, because I'm not really 100% sure where to go. I've gotten stuck quite a few times in this game trying to ferret out where I'm supposed to go, so your guess is really as good as mine. I'm going to try and at least solve one room, or at least escape one room. And this one might be a pretty good example here with, oh, it's got breakaway platforms too. Well, that's kind of nifty. Okay, so this is where we started the game. This is the starting room, so this wraps around. So I'm guessing what the game is trying to tell me is going up in this room. That's supposed to be the exit where we fell down here and saw all that stuff. So the way out might just be in this room with all of the pokey platforms with spikes on the bottom, which are going to be a little bit hair-raising to try and get into without falling off and having to reset all the platforms. Here we go. That's another kind of retro thing. You didn't always have a button to reset a room when you got all the platforms jankled up. Sometimes you literally had to leave for a while and come back after you explored 4 or 5 other rooms, or you wouldn't be able to do anything, and you'd be stuck. Which was kind of poopy. Oh, got a scorpion. I'm gonna shoot you. There we go. Let's go get that juicy treasure down here. This is where pinpoint accuracy is really important, to be able to jump over these little steps without falling into the spikes. So this is really what Elena Temple is all about. You're kind of exploring the history of games, some of like the comedic history of what it was often like to develop these before we had the internet and a lot of more centralized learning resources that we do today. And I'll leave off with a little gameplay preview of the Some Toy Advance, which is totally nothing to do with Nintendo. I don't know, I thought this was a cool way to maybe not give accurate history, but a fun way to explore the history of early computers, early game consoles, and all of the rigmarole that kind of went in when people were pioneering all of this technology. You can pick it up right now on Steam for around, say, $4 to $6. Again, it's on sale while the game is fresh, and I would definitely recommend this. That said, if you're really not a fan of retro-style games because you have difficulty with them, or you get stuck a lot in them, I might recommend against this game. But other than that, this is pretty fun. It's got that nice dose of retro nostalgia, even though it's not fast-paced, hardcore arcade action like Contra. It still has quite a few things to tease your brain. Like going across these platforms here through this broken wall. These clutch maneuvers to get all these juicy coins. So that'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Larry. Links to this game are in the video description below. And I will catch you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch you later. Bye, everybody, and have a good one.